I recently got this SawStop PCS table saw in, I think it was April or May of 2015. And anyway, since I've got it, I've stirred up a lot of buzz and questions about it. So I'm going to talk about it here today, but not necessarily just this saw. I'm going to compare this one to the last saw that I had, which was the Grizzly G0690 table saw. And there's some similarities, there's some differences. I think that'll give you a better idea of this saw as in comparison to another one. So, one of the hot questions it seems like for table saws that I get is 3 horsepower necessary? Because some people don't have a 240 volt service in their shop for one of these larger motors. So this is a 3 horsepower motor. The Grizzly was a 3 horsepower motor. Both of them run off of 240 volts of electricity. And is it necessary? Probably not. My saw before that was a 1.5 horsepower saw, and it got the job done. But nothing that I've thrown at this or the Grizzly has ever bogged the motor down at all. Like, there's no noticeable difference of the saw bogging down with anything that I've cut on this or the Grizzly. The 1.5 horsepower saws that I've had prior to these, I have noticed the saw motor bogging down a little bit. Like I said, it's not 100% necessary, but it does help. So comparing one to the other, the fence system on this versus the fence system on the Grizzly, they're pretty much identical. It's a T-square style fence system that is very hard to screw up. So the little accessories are what really makes it. The little looking glasses, whatever you want to call these, magnifying glasses for the scale, is better on the SawStop. It's got this little bubble that magnifies it a little bit, and just so long as you're standing right above it when you read it, you'll get an accurate reading. But it's more visible on this saw than it was on the Grizzly. As far as them clamping down and then them staying put when they are clamped down and moving around, that's pretty much all the same. It's just a T-square style fence system. The cast iron area on the top of the table saw, it was about the same. This is pretty much a standard size for a cast iron top. Now there are 2 cast iron wing extensions, which is pretty much standard, so they're pretty much the same on this and the Grizzly. The cut capacity, the Grizzly saw only had, I forget the number, 30.5 inches out of the box. But I moved the fence over, so I think it got 36.5 inches. This particular fence is the longer fence option, which is also available on the Grizzly, so I just didn't get it back then. And this has a cutting capacity of 52 inches to the right of the blade. I think the sweet spot, in my experience, I think the sweet spot is around 37 inches. That way you can cut 36 inches or 36.5 with no problem. But all this extra space I thought would be excellent for breaking down sheet goods. But in my experience, it's just a huge pain in the butt to wrestle a full sheet of plywood that is lengthwise this way. When you're ripping that way, full 8 feet, it's not that bad. But when you're wrestling a full sheet this way, it's kind of a pain in the butt. So I've gotten to where I don't even do it anymore. I'll just make the first cut with a circular saw and then bring a much more manageable piece to the table saw. So literally, I don't use the cutting capacity more than, say, 36 inches or so. I'm going to say that's the sweet spot. So if I had to do this all over again, I would probably honestly get the smaller fence rails, and then I'd have a little bit more real estate available in my shop that is more used than a clutter catcher. The riving knife is, they both function just fine. They're both quick release on this saw and then the Grizzly. The quick release is much better on this saw. It's an actual handle that you move. The Grizzly was a little thumb screw that you just wiggle around, which was not the easiest to do. It was, still quick release riving knife, but it wasn't the easiest to do. So I'll give that win on this one for that. The insert plates are much easier to take on and off on this saw than they were on the Grizzly. The Grizzly, if I'm not mistaken, it screwed, the factory insert plate screwed down in the front, so you had to remove a screw in order to remove the insert plate. And of course I had a aftermarket zero clearance insert that was friction fit, that you adjusted a screw to make it super tight, which that was kind of a pain in the butt to remove. So I really like the insert plates for these, and I'll give the win to this. Assembly, the assembling the Grizzly wasn't bad, but it wasn't nearly as flawless as assembling this saw. Everything, the packaging was just fantastic with the saw. Everything is just dead on from the factory, it seems like, with the saw. There's no adjustment in the fence rails. They're all like these tapered bolts that go in here to align everything. Once the saw was up and running, I had zero problems aligning the Grizzly, tuning it all in, zero problems, but it was a little time consuming. This saw, I didn't adjust anything. I put my dial indicator on the blade. It was set within tolerance to the miter gauge from the factory. The fence was set from the factory within tolerance to the miter slot. The only thing I had to adjust was this surface of the fence was not 100% perpendicular to the table. So I just loosened one of these or adjusted one of these nylon screws here and made this particular face 90 degrees to the saw, or to the cast iron. That's literally the only adjustment I've had to make to the saw since I put it together. So assembly, SawStop was much easier. Dust collection is a heck of a lot better on this saw than it was on the Grizzly. The Grizzly just threw the dust in the cabinet like most cabinet saws. And when I purchased the Grizzly, one of the other options was the Grizzly 1023, I think that's what it is. It has a dust shroud in it, and I did not get that saw specifically because of the dust shroud. I thought the dust shroud would be a pain in the butt for crap to fall down in there like little slivers of wood and cause problems or whatever, so I didn't go that route. The Grizzly that I got, the G0690, just threw the dust in the cabinet. This saw has a dust shroud to it, and the dust collection is a heck of a lot better because of it. I've never swept the inside of the cabinet whatsoever, and there's just a thin layer of dust on the bottom of this cabinet. There's very little dust inside the cabinet at all. That being said, I've never ran this saw without dust collection running. So even if I'm making this quick, small little, small cut, I still turn the dust collection on. It's just fantastic. This one does have, I did get the overarm dust collection thing with this particular saw. And it works really well when you are when the blade is 100% in the material. So if you're just ripping off a thin little sliver off of one edge to where one side of the blade is exposed, it's still going to spray dust everywhere, even with the overarm dust shroud thing. But if you're like cutting plywood and stuff that's wider than 3 inches or so, then it really does a good job. However, I found it to be in the way more so than the benefit of leaving it on. So I removed it. It was just in my way and kind of annoying at times. But it does work, and it does work really well. I think a lot of that had to do with the arm that came across the side. If I had like a drop in the middle of my ceiling for the dust collection to hook up to the back of, to where my arms could be freely moved through here, then I think I would probably leave it on there more so than not have it, just because the quick release to remove it and put it on and take it off is very fast. The mobile base on the Grizzly, I don't think either one of these saws come with one. I think they're options or accessories or whatever. The Grizzly, I purchased a ShopFox mobile base for it, and it worked. When you needed to move the saw, it worked. You moved it around. Wasn't as easy, but you don't move the saw around that often. This has I got the industrial mobile base with it. So I've got too much crap around it to actually demonstrate it, but it's just a couple pumps of your foot, and it's literally ready to go. It lifts up the whole 52-inch wing and all that good stuff. So it's crazy easy to move around. So this is the heaviest tool in my shop by far, and probably one of the easiest to actually move. This mobile base is insane. And when you're ready to drop it, just quick little lever release. You don't have to bend down or nothing like that with the other one. But how often do you move the saw? That just depends. I don't really move this often at all, but it's there and it's it's extremely easy to use. The advantage goes on this mobile base versus that Shop Fox that I used. So basically every little feature on this saw, the SawStop PCS, is an upgraded feature, or all the attention to detail, everything is better on this saw than that Grizzly G0690 saw that I had. However, I will say that the Grizzly G0690 table saw that I had did everything that I asked it to do, and I had zero problems out of it. So take that into consideration. But like I said, everything on this saw is better, so you typically get what you pay for as far as larger machinery purchases. I find that to be the case in my experience. This one has the safety feature. Obviously, everyone has seen the hot dog through a table saw, clips. This has the safety feature. The Grizzly does not. That's the reason why I wanted this one. We all know about the cost of amputations versus the cost of this. Accidents do happen. No one plans for an accident. Personally, I don't think I would ever have a table saw accident in my life. But you don't plan for accidents, and accidents happen. I'm not going to get into that whole debate. So why did I not get this one when I got the Grizzly? Budget reasons. I did not want to mix household income with shop income or shop budget, and I simply could not afford this one when I purchased that particular cabinet table saw. So I got the Grizzly instead of this one, and that's that. That's why I purchased that one. Why did I acquire this one? Why did I get this one? I did not purchase this one. I was seriously debating once I moved into this shop and had things up and running, and I could afford it. Once I could afford it, I was seriously debating selling the particular Grizzly to purchase this one. However, before that was a plan put into motion. SawStop contacted me to work out a mutually beneficial situation to where they provided me with the saw. I did not pay for this at all, and they get product placement. That's it. I'm not required to say anything. I told them I would not do any type of deal that required me to do so. So anything that I'm saying here is my own thoughts and opinions. But I did not pay for this saw. So they provided me with the value of the saw. I provided them with the value of product placement, I guess, marketing, and on their part it has worked because it's stirred up a lot of comments on my content regarding this particular saw. So we both received value as far as that goes. Would I purchase this with my own money though? Absolutely. Like I said, this was their cabinet saw was my main objective, my top of the line saw that I've always wanted when I was in the market for a cabinet saw. I just could not afford it at the time. So if something happened to where I had to replace this today, yes, I would purchase another one. It's just, the safety feature speaks for itself, and then all of the little details and fine little qualities of the saw are really nice. So I hope that helps. Let me know if I missed anything, or if you have any other questions, I'll try to answer those as well. So thanks for watching. You guys take care and have a great day.